Auf welche Aktien setzt eigentlich Warren Buffett und brachte ihm wahnsinnig gute Rendite? Hey, herzlich willkommen, schön, dass du wieder dabei bist. Warren Buffett liebt Konsumgüter, aber nicht irgendwelche Konsumgüter, sondern Konsumgüter mit einem starken Branding. Aber warum ist es so? Warren Buffett liebt zum Beispiel Apple, Disney oder Coca Cola. Und all diese Markenprodukte haben eins gemeinsam. Sie sind in den Köpfen verankert und lassen sich schwer wieder daraus trennen. Und die Sachen liebt Warren Buffett. Ich werde dir gleich ein Video zeigen, in dem Warren Buffett erklärt, warum er so stark an Markenunternehmen interessiert ist. Am Ende des Videos verstehst du den Vorteil von Markenunternehmen und warum es smart ist, genau in diese Markenunternehmen zu investieren. Wenn du neu hier bist und den Kanal supporten willst, kannst du meinen Kanal gerne unten abonnieren. Doch jetzt starten wir mal mit dem kurzen Clip aus der Aktionärsversammlung von 1997 mit Warren Buffett. Viel Spaß dabei.
Mike Assail from New York City. Could you explain a little more about what you've called the mind of the consumer and the nature of the product, and explain how you actually apply these concepts to find the companies with the growing demand and the best investment potential? And thank you for being two of the greatest professors I've ever had.
Thanks. You know, what you really, when you get into consumer products, you're really interested in finding out or thinking about what is in the mind of how many people throughout the world about a product now and what it's likely to be in their mind 5 or 10 or 20 years from now. Now, virtually every person in the globe, maybe, well, let's get it down to 75% of the people in the globe, have some notion in their mind about Coca Cola. You know, they have. The word Coca Cola means something to them. You know, RC Cola doesn't mean anything to virtually anyone in the world, but you know, it does with the guy who owns RC, you know, but and the bottler, but everybody has something in their mind about Coca Cola, and overwhelmingly it's favorable. It's associated with pleasant experiences. Now, part of that is by design. I mean, it is where you are happy. It is at Disneyland, at Disney World, and it's at ballparks, and it's every place that you're likely to have a smile on your face, including the Berkshire Hathaway meeting, I might add. And that position in the mind is pretty firmly established, and it's established in close to 200 countries around the world with people. A year from now, it will be established in more minds, and it will have a slightly different overall position. And 10 years from now, the position can move just a little bit more. It's share of mind. It's not share of market. It's share of mind that counts. Disney, same way. Disney means something to billions of people. And if you're a parent with a couple of young children and you got 50 videos in front of you that you can buy, you're not going to sit down and preview an hour and a half of each video before deciding what one to stick in front of your kids. You know, you have got something in your mind about Disney, and you don't have it about the ABC video company, or you don't even have it about you don't have it about 20th Century, you know, or you don't have it about Paramount. So that name to billions of people, including lots of people outside this country, it has a meaning, and that meaning overwhelmingly is favorable. It's reinforced by the other activities of the company. And just think of what somebody would pay if they could actually buy that share of mind, you know, of billions of people around the world. You can't do it. You can't do it by $1 billion advertising budget or a $3 billion advertising budget or hiring 20,000 super salesmen. So you've got that. Now, the question is, what does that stand for 5 or 10 or 20 years from now? You know there'll be more people. You know there'll be more people that have heard of Disney. And you know that there will always be parents that are interested in having something for their kids to do. And you know that kids will love the same sort of things. And you know that whoops. He emphasizes the key points when we get to those. But that is what you're trying to think about with the consumption product. That's what Charlie and I were thinking about when we bought See's Candy. I mean, here we were in 1972. You know, we think we know a fair amount about candy. I know more than when I sat down this morning. I mean, I had about 20 pieces already. But, you know, does their face light up on Valentine's Day, you know, when you hand them a box of candy and say, you know, it's some nondescript thing and say, here, honey, I took the low bid, you know, or something of the sort. And no, I mean, you want something you've got tens of millions of people, or at least many millions of people that remember that the first time they handed that box of candy, it wasn't that much thereafter that they got kissed for the first time or something. So it's the memories are good, the association's good. Total process isn't just the candy; it's the person who takes care of you at Christmas time when they've been on their feet for 8 hours and people have been yelling at them because they've been in line with 50 people in line and that person still smiles at them. The delivery process, it's the shop in which they get all kinds of things. The treat we give them, it's all part of the marketing personality. But that position in the mind is what counts with a consumer product. And that means you have a good product, very good product. It means you may need tons of infrastructure because you got to have that. I had a case of cherry Coke awaiting me at the top of the Great Wall when I got there in China. Now that you've got to have something there so that the product is there when people want it. And that happened in World War II. General Eisenhower, said to Mr. Woodruff that he wanted a Coca Cola within arm's length of every American serviceman in the world, and they built a lot of bottling plants to take care of that. That sort of positioning can be incredible. It seems to work especially well for American products. I mean, people want certain types of American products worldwide. Our music, our movies, our soft drinks, our fast food. You can't imagine, at least I can't, a French firm or a German firm or a Japanese firm having that selling 47 or 48% of the world's soft drinks. I mean, it doesn't happen that way. It's part of something you could broadly call an American culture, and the world hungers for it. And Kodak, for example, probably does not have quite the same. George Fisher's doing a great job with the company. This goes back before that. But Kodak probably does not have the same place in people's mind worldwide quite as it had 20 years ago. I mean, people didn't think of Fuji in those days, we'll say, as being in quite the same place. And then Fuji took the Olympics, as I remember, in Los Angeles, and they pushed their way to more of a parity with the Kodak. And you don't want to ever let them do that. And that's why you can see a Coca Cola or a Disney or companies like that doing things that you think, well, this doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense. If they didn't spend this $10 million, wouldn't they still sell as much Coca Cola? But that I quoted from that 1896 report of Coca Cola and the promotion they were doing back then to spread the word. You never know which dollar is doing it. But you do know that everybody in the world that's virtually has heard of your product. Overwhelmingly, they've got a favorable impression on them, and the next generation is going to get it. So that's what you're doing with consumer products. With See's Candy, we are no better. We want to no better than the last person who's been served their candy with the last product they've been served. But as long as we do the job on that, people can't catch us. We can charge a little more for it because people are not interested in taking the low bid, and they're not interested in saving a penny a bottle on colas. Remember, we've talked about in these meetings private labels in the past. And private label has stalled out in the soft drink business. That they want the real thing. And 900 and some odd million 8-ounce servings will be served today of Coca-Cola product around the world. 900 million. And it'll go up next year, the year after. And I don't know how you displace companies like that. I mean, if you gave me $100 billion, and I encourage any of you who are thinking about that to step forward, but if you gave, and you told me to displace the Coca-Cola company as the leader in the world in soft drinks, I wouldn't have the faintest idea how to do it. Those are the kind of businesses we like.
Für dich fasse ich jetzt nochmal alles kurz und knackig in 5 Punkten zusammen. Erstens, wie viele Leute kennen die Marke heute und wie viel kennen die Marke in 10 Jahren? Und das ist Warren Buffett ganz wichtig. Er will einfach, dass Wachstum dahinter steckt. Zweitens, gute Gefühle. Warren Buffett liebt Unternehmen, die den Konsumenten gute Gefühle mitgeben. Und das macht er mit Coca Cola oder Disney oder auch Apple. Die Leute sind stolz auf ihre Produkte. Drittens, die Marke hat eine Bedeutung. Die Marke hat in den Köpfen der Konsumenten eine Bedeutung. Und auf diese Bedeutung legt Warren Buffett sehr viel Wert. Und er sieht es wie so eine Verknüpfung. Die Konsumenten haben einmal das Produkt im Kopf und einmal diese guten Gedanken, diese guten Gefühle. Und diese Verbindung lässt sich schwer wieder trennen. Viertens, Preise. Warren Buffett achtet darauf, in Unternehmen zu investieren, die die Preise anheben können, fast wie sie möchten. Und als Beispiel bringt er seine eigene Firma See's Candies. See's Candies kann Jahr für Jahr einfach seine Preise erhöhen, ohne dass die Kunden davonlaufen. 5. Den letzten Punkt habe ich selbst herausgefunden, indem ich über diese Infografik gestolpert bin. In dieser Infografik sieht man deutlich, dass Marken in Krisen deutlich zulegen können. Und deshalb setzt auch Warren Buffett auf Unternehmen, die natürlich auch in Krisen überleben. Wir sind schon zum Ende angelangt. Ich hoffe, dir hat das Video gefallen und du konntest einiges aus diesem Video mitnehmen. Wenn du mehr solcher Videos über Aktien oder Börse sehen willst, kannst du gerne meinen Kanal unten abonnieren. Gleichzeitig kannst du unten die Glocke betätigen. Damit zeigst du deinen Support und kannst meinen Kanal super unterstützen. Ich wünsche dir viel Erfolg beim Investieren. Bleib gesund, mach's gut, Alex.